good morning. It is January 23rd, 2025, and I am bringing the Coastal Permit Administrator hearing to order. It is 10 a.m. Clerk, do we have a determination of legal notice?
The above matters have been properly noticed.
Thank you. So moving right into our regular calendar, our first case is 3A, which is CDP 2022-0034, which was continued from October 24th, 2024 for owner applicant Thomas and Deborah Johnson. And Jesse Waldman is our staff planner, and I'll look to you, Jesse, for any presentation.
Morning, CPA Krog and members from the public. Planner Waldman for Mendocino County Planning and Building Services, and I am here today to present to you the Coastal Development Permit Application Number CDP 2022-0034. And this parcel is located within the coastal zone, just north of the Casper Town Center, or North Casper, laying on the east side of Casper Road, about 200 feet north of the intersection of Casper Road and Pacifica Drive, located at 15405 Casper Road in Casper, California, with a assessor's parcel number of 118-02018. And today, I'm going to kind of summarize the project. The request has been modified. There has been a memorandum that has been prepared, and I hope that is in front of you. I see you nodding your head. Great.
Yes, thank you.
So the request has been revised today to state the coastal development permit request or to construct a single family residence, a detached garage, the exclusion of the well, the installation, or it states the 2,500 gallon water tank, a septic system, a solar array on the garage roof, grade, entrance, road, and building site. The request also states the connection to an on-site well and the removal of 2 sheds are also included in the request. This parcel is approximately 3.4 acres in size. It is subject to the rural residential classifications of the Mendocino County Coastal Element for rural residential with proof of water for a minimum of 2 acres in size. Its zoning regulations is the rural residential out of Title 20 of Division 2 of the Mendocino County Code. And we do have the Mendocino County Code references for rural residential uses for single family residences and accessory uses for buildings such as detached garages. It's in the 4th district of the Mendocino County supervisorial districts, and the project has been found to be categorically exempt. And the project is highly scenic. It is appealable with the Coastal Commission. And as stated in the memo, this project has been to the Coastal Permit Administrator previously. Originally, in April, it was presented to the CPA, and the day before the hearing, staff received notes from the California Coastal Commission regarding proof of adequate water. The applicants requested we worked together with the county staff and the applicant, and we placed this request to be on hold. And the applicants applied for a secondary or a separate coastal development permit, and that CDP number is 2024-0014, where the permit was approved to drill wells, and the well results were inconclusive. There is an existing well on site, and the owners opted to do a well test on that well, and it provided proof of adequate water. And I will go over that here shortly. But just to kind of back up a little bit why the revision came to us today, why the revision is coming to us today. So since we're here, we have proof of water. We have not received additional comments from any agencies. Staff has prepared revisions to the staff report as outlined in the memorandum. and revisions to conditions of approval and final findings for this coastal development permit. And I will try to go over those briefly and summarize them as best as possible. So, to develop the vacant parcel, we have proof of water, where proof of water test of the well that's on site proved to have 3.89 gallons per minute, which is sufficient for proof of adequate water. There is a water storage tank proposed, so they will have that as well. For the well to work as proof of adequate water, and the septic design that the owners have had designed and approved by the Environmental Health Department, a revision for a setback reduction was required, or was requested, and it was approved with the the Division of Environmental Health, and that approval came into our office on January 7th of this year, 2025. So that is great news for sufficient utilities and services to support infrastructure to support the proposed request of the single family residence. So with those two findings, or those two services that are needed for developing part of the requirements for developing a vacant parcel, it's great. Staff is recommending, with all the findings, staff is recommending approval of the request with the revised conditions. Let me just go over this very quickly. There was conditions 15 of the original staff report that is proposed to be removed, and that was to provide adequate water. And because of that comment from the California Coastal Commission and the proof of water findings, that condition would not have any purpose in this proposed staff report. They will need to have the issuance of a septic system. That's now going to be condition 15, not 16. They will be condition 16 now, not 17, is to require adequate access with the CAL FIRE requirements for their driveway. And also there's fencing that is going to be required on each side of the private driveway coming off of Casper Road. 17 is regarding the ESHA, and there's ESHA on site, the environmentally sensitive habitat area on site, and the owners have designed their proposal to be the least impactful and the furthest away from all ESHAs on site. They even designed their driveway to curve along the 50-foot buffer as outlined within their biological scoping survey and reduced buffer analysis, wetland delineation, and the botanical survey report prepared by Wind Coastal Planning. And this was approved by the California Department of Fish and Wildlife Services. And as long as they adhere to the specific recommendations within this staff report, specifically conditions 17, not 18. And then the Department of Transportation, they have their recommendations for any work done in the right-of-way and to establish a residential driveway per their development standards, number A51A, for adequate access to the parcel. And there is a notice of exemption condition 20, not 21. And that is required, or that's recommended as the project is appealable. And that should be done within 5 days, I believe. Let's double check that. That should be done as soon as possible within 5 days of this hearing. If this project is approved today, they could do that at the front desk in Ukiah or Fort Bragg. And I just want to clarify a couple of corrections that I found while rewriting the staff report, and that was in the final findings number 1. I had prepared the staff report, and the previous staff reports stated that the project was in a remote residential zoning classification, and it is not. It is a rural residential classification per our coastal element. And then I made a couple of revisions to final finding number 2, where they will be using the existing well on site. The well permit that is struck through in that report was used as the Coastal Development Permit 2024, number 14, where it did not have sufficient water. I would like to repeat myself and just say that the project as proposed in this memorandum and the redlined staff report, staff does recommend approval of this project with the adherence of the revised recommendations. I am available for any questions that you may have, and that concludes my presentation, and I do see that the landowners are present today at this hearing. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Jesse. So I don't have any questions for you right off the bat, but I'll turn to look to the applicant and owner and see, do you have any comments you wish to make?
I have one question, I didn't hear it. There was a condition that we were supposed to do something within 5 days, and I don't know what that is.
Sure, so there's an optional filing that you can do. It's for a notice of exemption related to the California Environmental Quality Act. If you do choose that you wish to file that notice of exemption, which it's your choice whether or not you want to do it, it's a $50 fee. And what that does is it reduces the time period during which somebody can challenge your project on CEQA-related grounds from 180 days to 35 days.
Okay, we can do that before we leave today?
Absolutely, yeah. It's just a check written to the Mendocino County Clerk, and then we file the notice of exemption on your behalf.
Okay. Other than that, I just want to thank everybody for the help that they've given us.
Well, congratulations on finding water.
You can imagine our disappointment until when we drilled those wells.
Yes.
But that's all I have.
Okay, well, great. Well, thank you for being here today. So now I'm going to go ahead and open up the public hearing and see if we have any members of the public, either in the room or online, who wish to speak on this item. And I see no attendees on Zoom. Do we have anyone in the room that wants to speak on this item? I'm seeing heads shaking no. Okay, great. Then I'm going to go ahead and close public comment and bring it back to the Coastal Permit Administrator. So I want to thank staff for the detailed memo revising the conditions and the findings and really wrapping up the whole project and the changes that have occurred since the original hearings on this project. And I'm very happy to hear that you were able to find a solution to be able to continue forward with the development. It sounds like it's been a little bit of a roller coaster, but I'm glad that it sounds like as of January 7th, it was resolved. So with that, I will go ahead and approve the project subject to the findings and conditions as modified by the staff memorandum dated January 23rd, 2025. So with that, your project is approved. There are 2 appeal periods that are associated with this project. The first would be 10 calendar days with the Board of Supervisors, and then followed by 10 business days with the Coastal Commission. So about 30 days from today, you'll have a permit that you could then come in and apply for building permits on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. And Ms. Waldman, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson.
Okay, great. And if you do want to pay that filing fee at the front counter, just visit we have a planner of the day up there, and he should be able to assist just with collecting the check. Yeah, thank you. Okay. So moving on to our second item on the agenda, which is case, we have project 3B, case CDP 2024-0020 for owner applicant George and Candace Scarlatos. And our staff planner, Shelby Miller. May I have your presentation?
Thank you. Project planner, Shelby Miller here. The project is located within the coastal zone, approximately 4.8 miles south of Elk Town Center, lying on the west side of State Route 1, and about 2.5 miles north of its intersection with Cypress Point Road, located at 12250 South Highway 1. Assessor's parcel number is 131-07007. So the project is a standard coastal development permit to construct a ground-based solar panel array, install a Tesla inverter, a battery backup, 2 Tesla Powerwalls, and one of the Powerwall would serve the single-family residence, and the other would serve the guest cottage. And the ground-based solar array would be constructed between the existing single-family residence and an existing fence. And the project proposes to trench roughly 150 feet along the fence line from the ground mount solar panel array to the main service panel that's existing. And then the dirt from the trenching would be backfilled, and best management practices would be implemented to prevent erosion and runoff. The project was referred to standard public agencies, and on September 16th of 2024, the Elk Community Services District requested that members of the Elk Fire Department be provided on-site familiarization and training on the operation and safety characteristics of the proposed solar panel system. And a condition of approval was included to require the landowner coordinate this on-site training with the fire chief within 30 days of the CDP, or Coastal Development Permit, issuance. Staff did not request a biological survey, considering the ground disturbance would be minimal and would occur in already disturbed areas. The project was referred to the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, in which they commented and stated that since no vegetation would be removed or impacted by the work, and the project would be located in an already disturbed area, the department does not have any further comments. So standard conditions of approval were included, and with the incorporation of the conditions recommended by the Elk Community Services District. The proposed project meets the general plan classification of rangelands and the principally permitted uses for the rangeland zoning district. Also the project meets the criteria for the categorical exemption from California Environmental Quality Act under sections 15301 existing facilities and 15304 minor alterations to land. And county staff recommends approval of the proposed project. And thank you.
Okay, great, thank you. So I see it looks like we have representatives of the application in the room. Do you have any comments at this time?
Yeah, my name's Dan Johnson. I'm from Six River Solar. This is George and Candace Scarlatus, the landowners. One small note in addition to this, it's actually 3 Powerwalls total. 2 of them will be mounted to the back of the solar panel array racking, so there's no increase to the footprint from what you've already considered.
Okay.
It is detailed in the electrical diagrams, but I could see the confusion looking at a plot plan as wide as it needed to be to have the whole scope of the property in it. That's the only note.
So I think then, thank you for that. I think then we'd want to make that clear in the findings. So we'll just replace throughout findings 1 through 5, where it says 2 Tesla Powerwall systems to 3
Yes.
systems. Okay, excellent. Thank you for that clarification. And then I do have one question that's probably both a combination of staff and to the applicant. So the request from the Elk Community Services District, I'm just wondering how feasible it would be for within 30 days of issuance of the CDP to give them training on the equipment itself, and whether or not it would make more sense within 30 days of a building permit having been issued. So they're looking at the actual equipment
Yeah. that would make more
on
sense.
site. Okay, so that was, it just seems that if they want to have that training, that it would make the most sense to have that training happen when you have the equipment on site, so everyone's able to see that. So, so then with that, I will modify condition 9 to say within 30 days of the issuance of this building, of a building permit associated with the project.
Now, is this before the building permit?
No, within 30 days after issuance of the
Yeah.
permit.
Oh, okay.
So we'll come build it in that time and we can show them
Oh, I
the
see.
equipment on site.
Okay.
And I would suggest, maybe you do it before you've like fully made use of the equipment, just to get them familiarized with it as well. But within 30 days of issuance of this coastal development permit just doesn't quite make sense to me, because you wouldn't have, they could come out and see your site, but they wouldn't see how the equipment operates.
Yeah,
So-
I already I've spoken to the chief there, and
Good.
he says, sure, no problem.
Okay.
Give me a call, so.
Yeah, and you can always do it earlier than this too, but just at least within 30 days of when you've obtained the building permit. So, okay. So with that, with the modified, let me go ahead and now open the public hearing and see if we have any members of the public who wish to speak on this item, and seeing no members on Zoom. And any further comments in the room? Head shaking no? Okay, great. So then I will go ahead and bring it back to the coastal permit administrator, and I will approve the project subject to the revision to findings 1 through 5 to reference the 3 Tesla Powerwall systems, and then the modification to condition 9 stating within 30 days of issuance of a building permit associated with the project, that you'll coordinate that on-site training. So with that, the project is approved.
Now, is there an appeals process?
Yes, so you have the same process that I mentioned for the last project as well. So the first is 10 calendar days with the local board of supervisors. And then provided no appeal is filed there, then it's 10 business days with the California Coastal Commission. So altogether, it works out to about 30 days is what I've found. So about 30 days from now, you would have an issued coastal development permit where you can then obtain your building permit. You can, of course, apply for the building permit in the interim, but just the county can't grant it until after that time.
How long does a building permit take?
Usually, a solar review would be relatively quick with our office. I would say under 30 days,
But it could be 60 days out is what you're saying.
potentially.
Well, we'll go ahead and apply now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
There's
okay.
nothing that prevents you from applying now and getting that plan review process started. Just planning division can't sign off on that building permit until the CDP is effective.
So basically, it takes about a year for these projects to get through, huh?
In some of these sensitive areas of the coastal zone, yes, it takes time. Yes. But with that, your project is approved, subject to those findings and conditions as mentioned today. So then moving on to our agenda, are there any matters from staff?
I have none. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any matters from the public? The Coastal Permit Administrator welcomes participation in meetings. This item is limited to matters under the jurisdiction of the Coastal Permit Administrator, which are not on the posted agenda and which have not already been considered by the Coastal Permit Administrator. No action will be taken. Any matters from the public? Seeing head shaking no, then I'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting at 10:23 a.m.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
So thank you both so much.
Good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Shelby.